Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. So in today's video, we're going to be going over President Biden and his new budget that he released yesterday. It's going to include $6.8 trillion in spending, and he also makes mention of Social Security, which will be receiving a 10% boost in funding if he gets his way. So we'll be going over everything that President Biden said yesterday, but why critics are saying that he doesn't really release his real plan on saving Social Security. Plus, I'm going to be going over a lot more information on Social Security, so make sure to stick around all the way to the end. But before I get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out just real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm. And consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so this is right from CNBC. It says Biden budget calls for protecting and strengthening Social Security. So first off, one thing that he said is that he is going to be giving a 10% increase in funding to improve services if he gets his way. So Biden is requesting a 10% boost, a $1.4 billion increase to the Social Security Administration's operating budget over the amount enacted in 2023. The funding would total $15.5 billion. The funds would be used to improve customer service at Social Security's field offices after long in-person waits and 800 number hold times have become increasingly common. The funds would help improve 800 number access and online services. The funds would also be used for state disability determination services and teleservice centers. The budget also calls for adding staff to help reduce wait times and increase processing of disability claims, simplifying the supplemental security income application process, and increasing outreach. So this funding would obviously go a long way. I know it's pretty frustrating having to call into the Social Security office and having to wait several minutes, if not several hours. So this is also from the article. It says that days after introducing a new plan to shore up Medicare, President Joe Biden called for protecting and strengthening Social Security with the introduction of his fiscal 2024 budget on Thursday. With the budget, the president reaffirmed his intentions to reject any proposed cuts to Social Security or Medicare. It also confirms he plans to work with Congress to strengthen the programs. His statement stopped short, however, of proposing a specific plan to restore Social Security's trust funds. Lawmakers are discussing ways to shore up the program, which may not be able to pay full benefits as soon as 2033, according to a recent analysis from the Congressional Budget Office. Among the options on the table are raising the full retirement age from 67 to 70. Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have also led a plan that would make income over $250,000 subject to Social Security taxes. However, Biden's budget reaffirms his intentions that no one earning less than $400,000 per year will pay a penny in new taxes. At the same time, the budget also indicates that the administration looks forward to working with Congress to responsibly strengthen Social Security by ensuring high-income individuals pay their fair share. Biden has proposed raising Medicare taxes to 5% from 3.8% for both earned and unearned income over $400,000. The changes are aimed at shoring up Medicare's funds for at least 25 years. And while Biden's budget did not include specific plans for Social Security, his stance suggesting he will make the wealthy pay their fair share to help shore up the program goes further than a lot of his predecessors have. Biden had previously suggested raising the limit on the Social Security payroll taxes during his campaign, but this is the first time while president he specifically laid down that marker. However, Maya McGuinness, president of the Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, said in a statement that the lack of a plan to address Social Security's trust fund shortfall is a glaring omission in the president's budget. And like Maya McGuinness, Senator Bill Cassidy is saying almost the exact same thing about President Biden. While he mentions the 10% budget increase, he's really not mentioning a plan, and he's really not doing anything right now to potentially save Social Security. That's what he's saying. Let's go ahead and roll the clip. It's going to be about 1 minute long, but make sure to stick around because I will be coming back and I will be making mention of what President Biden said about Social Security whenever he first entered office. Watch.
It means that the person who paid into the system her whole life, the program will be there for her. What the president is offering is no plan. George W., Obama, Clinton, they all offered plans to address this. This president, no plan. And no plan means that someone who paid into social her entire life is going to get a 24% cut in the benefits she's receiving when the program goes insolvent in 9 years. We have to choose to do something, not choose to do nothing, which is what this president is choosing to do.
Okay, so Bill Cassidy is really going after President Biden there, saying that he has no plan to save Social Security. Now, currently, Cassidy is actually in a bipartisan group with Angus King. Now, Angus King is actually an independent, but he does caucus with the Democrats, so they're trying to come up with some sort of plan to save Social Security so we don't have the 25% cut in benefits come 2032. Now, right now, as far as their plan goes, they do plan to have some sort of sovereign wealth fund, and they're also discussing about raising the full retirement age from 67 to 70. Now, as far as who is impacted with that, most likely it is going to be younger generations, but we really don't know for sure right now. And even whenever they do release their full plan, it might be difficult to get Democrats and Republicans on board. It does need to be bipartisan, so Bill Cassidy will have to get his Republican colleagues on board with the plan, and Angus King will need to get his Democratic colleagues on board with the plan. And it's really difficult right now because Republicans are pretty much all for raising the full retirement age, and they're completely against raising any sort of taxes, whereas Democrats, on the other hand, are completely against raising the full retirement age, and they're completely for raising taxes on the wealthiest of Americans. So it's going to be very difficult to get anything done. Now, Nikki Haley, a presidential candidate in 2024 for the Republican Party, came out yesterday and she was calling for change in retirement age for Americans who are now in their 20s. So she is kind of zoning in on the Americans who would be impacted by raising the full retirement age, anyone in their 20s or younger. So Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is calling for changing the retirement age for Americans currently in their 20s and limiting Social Security and Medicare benefits for wealthier Americans, staking out a position on the politically controversial issue of entitlement reform that's already been the subject of attacks from former President Donald Trump. What you do is, for those in their 20s coming into the system, we would change the retirement age so that it matches life expectancy, Haley said Thursday on Fox News. When pressed for what specific new retirement age she supports, the former South Carolina governor said, quote, "It's the new ones coming in. It's those in their 20s that are coming in. You're coming to them and you're saying the game has changed. We're going to do this completely differently." So in her eyes, if she gets what she wants, people in their 20s and younger would be the ones who would be getting sort of the short end of the stick, whereas for everyone else, the full retirement age would stay about the same. Now, as far as President Biden's plan goes, although he did not mention it last night, previously, whenever he was entering office, he did have a 4-point plan, so I will be going over that right now in today's video. So the first thing that he said that he wanted to do was to lift payroll taxation on high earners. He said that Americans earning under $400,000 per year would not be taxed a single penny. So this would be for Americans earning over $400,000 per year. Now, how this works is if you're an employee, you pay 6.2% in Social Security payroll tax. If you're self-employed, you pay the entire 12.4%. So right now in 2023, you only pay Social Security payroll tax on the first $160,200 that you earn. Then in his plan, there would be a donut hole where you would pay no taxes on Social Security between $160,200 and $400,000. Then once you exceeded the $400,000 mark, you would once again be paying into the 6.2 to 12.4% Social Security payroll tax. Now, the second thing that Biden wanted to do whenever he first entered office was to change the Social Security's measure of inflation from CPIW over to CPIE. Now, I would tread especially carefully here because there have been some years where the CPIW has actually been higher than the CPIE. So if we make this change, the cost of living adjustment could actually end up being lower in certain years, so we might want to be careful there. Another thing that Biden said is that he wanted to increase the special minimum benefit. So this year, the maximum payout for a lifetime low earner with 30 years of coverage is just $951 per month. That's more than $180 per month below the federal poverty level for a single filer. Under Biden's plan, the special minimum benefit would rise to 125% of the federal poverty level. For a lifetime low earner, it would mean a monthly payment boost of nearly $500. So this one would be especially helpful for people who are receiving the minimum. And another thing that Biden said is that he wanted to boost the primary insurance amount for aged beneficiaries. And he said that specifically the PIA would grow by 1% annually from ages 78 through 82 until a 5% cumulative increase was realized. So this would certainly be helpful as well, because as you age, your expenses become more and more, especially medically related. So that's President Biden's plan. Now keep in mind, for anything to get done, it must be bipartisan. Just because Biden says that's his plan doesn't necessarily mean that all those things need to pass. It would first need to pass the House, which the Republicans control completely by a simple majority. Then in the Senate, it would need to pass as well. Democrats have a narrow control of the Senate, but in the Senate, it would need 60 votes. So it would need to clear the House and the Senate, anything that gets done. So it would need to be bipartisan. And again, Republicans are completely for raising the full retirement age, and they're completely against raising taxes. And Democrats want to raise taxes on Americans earning over $250,000 per year, and they're completely against raising the full retirement age. So Republicans and Democrats may have to give in a little bit to save the Social Security program. That may mean a combination of both raising taxes on high-income Americans as well as raising the full retirement age, but we will just have to wait and see what happens. But that's all the news that I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. Make sure to leave any thoughts or comments that you have down below as far as the content goes, as far as what President Biden said today and everything like that. But once again, if you enjoyed the content in today's video, I would greatly appreciate you giving this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.